Drink free, no drinking. It's my fourth day, or maybe fifth day already with no beer. We're moving up in the world. My checking account still has. Let me check. Where is it now? If it was 14 the last time I checked, has $12. And if I stay drinking only coffee with my pocket money, we will make it to recoup everything that we lost in a month plus 20. We're doing pretty good out here. It's different. This month is different. Obviously, it's my birthday. My birthday's in 3 days. So, birthday boy. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. But yeah, yesterday I slept in the rain. Hold on, let me find a torrential downpour image. Torrential downpour in the forest. Hold on, hold on. Right here, right here. Save image. That's wait, not photos. Cancel. Oh, this is how it was last night. And I slept so good. So good. Not a leaf cover, couple drops, but nothing too fancy when you got a 12-ounce firm duck on you. You know, like it's really thick cloth. You know, so you really don't feel you hear the thump. You know, like you hear it's not nylon. That's really loud and uncomfortable to sleep. All you fear is the boom, the big drop that hit on you. So imagine an area just like this, a pathway, a bench, basically where I'm sitting, it's completely dry from the rain, or at least a couple drops. To some extreme, a little dampness, because obviously but they're dry now. You know, they definitely feel that they dried already. It wasn't enough rain to support. You know, it was enough cover to not get doused in the water, but it poured yesterday, and I was sleeping there. It poured. I'm like, I woke up, oh, and went back to sleep. Slept the whole night in the rain, and I woke up and there was people with umbrellas. So it was still raining through the morning. It was a pretty good sleeping yesterday. Decent, decent. You know, one of those undisturbed sleep. The stupid yellow vest security guard decided to come chase me 3 times. A convoy of two and a convoy of three walked by, but they didn't have the balls to do when I'm laying down. And you could tell that their behavior is only if you're laying down. Why? Because they don't want you to rest well. They don't want you to stretch your body. They don't want you to have normal biological functions out here. Why? Because they're all program time. They're modern slaves, right? Just like the majority of African Americans in the city. There's a million of them in a program, you know, in a program that's measuring the amount of money they earn in their income and the amount of money of stamps that they got, including children, and they'll cut off their job, right? They'll cut off their stamps once they make enough money in their job. They'll lose that job. They'll find another job. They'll work on that so they have work and stamps together. They get up, you know, they get a raise, they get enough money, they cut the stamps, and it's an ever loving loop. It's a Doran, how do you call it? It's a revolving door that millions of Americans are in some form of program. And yesterday we made the distinction when it comes to real freedoms between California and New York City. New York City is the absence of free will, the absence of free will thereof, because there's a million people that are asking you, "Oh, you're taking a nap at noon." There's a program for that with no, almost like robots, and they're the slaves. They're the green slip, the pink slip, the easy job. They won't survive in Pennsylvania, like I said yesterday. There are people that go to a government office, are told where to go, where to work, and that's not even close to sending out resumes and working in the real world. And they're gonna die in this place. They're not gonna want to leave because they got a free job if they're black, because these programs are mostly for African Americans. So they'll use that revolving door for everything that they need, including shelter, cash, a job, food for stamps, right? And they'll be in and out for the rest of their life. And that's not sending 10 resumes and getting 3 phone calls on the same day. That's free will. Going to a government office and getting a job that you didn't decide what you're gonna do, that's not free will. That's the absence of free will. Getting out of prison and you have to sweep the streets, you're a street sweeper now. That's the absence of free will, so on and so forth. So you could tell that, just like I explained it yesterday in a couple of my videos, that New York City's losing on free will because the people that are overlooking the rest of the population are in some form of program. So if you have a sandwich in your Coca-Cola, little ham and cheese sandwich at 12:30, right, and you're in the wrong area, you're not in an area in which one of these people in the program is kind of lenient if you're going to take a nap or not. You're going to be woken up and said, "Oh, baby, you can't sleep during the day. There's a program for that." Do you see that? And these are African American programs. These are not programs for whites. These are programs for murderers and rapists, for mental health patients, and for people in the prison system. The people without shelter in the prison system. As a doctor, they don't even teach these people to not mention things that have high risk under informed consent. Because these are programs that you have to tell a random kid, a 22-year-old kid from Indiana or Tennessee, that he's about to enter the system without knowing the risk of a New York City shelter. Example, number one, the shelters might have people in current or past criminal cases, including murder, rape, grand larceny, you know, um, aggravated assault, so on and so forth. Two, the shelters might be full of people using substances such as crystal methamphetamine, heroin, meth, crack, so on and so on. That's number two. That's a real informed consent page. Number three, your property might get stolen, even when it's locked under key. Make sure you bring no valuables to the shelter. Number four, at any time, whenever it's necessary, we will send you to a mental hospital because they're admitting themselves to a mental health system. Just entering the shelter, right? Entering a New York City shelter, they're already assuming you have some form of problem. Either you have mental health problems when you really don't, because they assume it before you come in the door. You have a drug problem, or you're a criminal, or you committed some form of crime or whatever. So coming in the door, these people are already assuming the type of problem that you got. You're not going to just fly under the radar in a shelter. Now you're going to be pegged some form of illness, right? And they're going to harass you over that illness. They're going to call you crazy. So if in the shelter a couple people call you crazy or whatever, and they tell the super or the management in there without your consent, you'll be put in a hospital and fed pills. And now you're a 22-year-old kid from Tennessee or from Indiana, from Chicago, that has no idea what New York City's doing, and now you're consuming medicine against your consent. Now you're in a pill line. Because these programs are not for regular people. These programs are for African American only. These these programs have to be privatized or cut altogether, defunded. But I mean, with a take that black ribbon, that tape, and bah, snap the shelter one. Privatize the shelter. You know, vet the people that are about to go in the shelter. Vet them. What is it? A white family with 2 kids? They got evicted because they couldn't pay rent? Okay, put them in so-and-so room with 4 beds. But not just regular people off the street like that. And let's continue. Let's delve deeper on the shelter system and its issues. Let's talk a little bit about the 3-pronged system like this. One angle of the triangle is the mental health systems, basically the departments that fund these programs. Mental health, Department of Mental Health and Services, New York City. Judicial system, Department of Justice. And number 3, Department of HRA, Department of Human Resources. So human resources, mental health, and the judicial. So you're ping pong around that shit. You're this way. You're this way. If you don't have a house for probation, they'll put you in a shelter to sign your probation at 6 p.m. every day. If you need a job for probation, they'll find you a job so you're back at the shelter at 6 p.m. If you have a pending court case and you don't have a place to stay, they'll put you in the shelter and then take you to jail. And when you come out of jail, if you don't have a place to stay, you'll go back to the shelter. And do you think that's for regular Americans? You think those environments, right, full of criminals moving in and out, the stealing, the theft, the drug use, the real mentals, the real crazy people, you think that's for real Americans? Nah, that's not for a 40-year-old doctor. That's not the environment for a 40-year-old doctor. All my shit will get robbed. My phones will disappear. My personal property will disappear. And I'd just be one in limbo. They'll take everything of mine if they could. Everything, every last cent. At the second I turn my back to it, it will disappear. You see that? And then those people from those programs that nail a job, they're so programmed that all they mention to you is one of them. Oh, there's a program for that. You can't sleep, baby. You could get a bed. There's a program for that. Oh, you need a job, baby. Oh, you can't make enough money. There's a program for that. They're slavers. They're slavery. So if anyone ever in the city tell you that there's a program for that, those people are slaves to a system. They have no free will. They don't decide the job that they got. They don't decide where they're gonna live. They don't decide if they get to keep food stamps or not. They're basically cotton pickers. At any moment, they'll go pick cotton. Any moment now. Any moment now. And those programs are the reason in which regular New Yorkers are losing free will. The absence of real free will, thanks to these programs, target a random worker. I work every day. If I need to take a nap in the afternoon, I'm a target to these people. These people go and say, oh, you can't take a nap. Taking a nap in the midday is a natural bodily function. Just closing your eyes for a little bit after eating, that's normal. That's not, you don't need a shelter because of that. At night, I don't know. I'm a resident of Battery Park. But the people in the program will take pictures of you without your consent and will take pictures any moment that you're outside. Any moment. You could be a resident, but if you're outside at night, we'll take a picture of you. Right? What is that? New York City is the absence of free will. Right? At 100% level. Absence of free will. Why? Because real free will is sleeping, eating, getting a job if you want to, getting support if you want to, and not pushing it as propaganda, as what they have to say to anyone that's sleeping on the street. You see that? Because it's everywhere. It's on the train. You work all day, you pass out on the train. Baby, there's a program for that. You can't sleep on the train. Park at midday at 3 p.m. You can't sleep on the park, baby. There's a program for that. What the fuck is wrong with these people? These people are cotton pickers. Modern cotton pickers. Lucky There's not a farm they can pick cherries and shit, strawberries from the ground. They are real slaves to a system. And what they do, reduce public liberty to a low. Because they make them, they don't pull them out. My goal in Battery Park is to remove Battery Park ambassadors, the yellow vested people. I want to remove them from the park. Why? Because they are the absence of free will in Battery Park. They think they got full-on jurisdiction to decide if you're going to take a nap at midnight, if you're going to take a nap in the morning, or if you're going to take a nap in the afternoon. And we're talking about regular-looking people. We're not talking about the mentally ill or the real homeless, you know. We're talking about regular people because they have no distinction. They can't see, they can't perceive you as successful. They see everyone in the same way. They see everyone with the same lens. So if you could be a worker working here at Amex or Goldman and you decide to stretch your legs, cross them, and pass out, they'll tell you to wake up, right? Tell you to wake up. There's a program if you need a bed to sleep in. And that's a big problem. Let's talk about California. Let's compare New York City to California now, here on stream. California, police don't care. There's programs, but those are voluntary programs. You're not forced in a program. You're not forced in a mental health hospital. You're not forced into rehab. You're not forced anywhere in California. If you need to sleep, find a tent. Put a tent on the ground. That's real free will. You tired? Buy a tent. Go to Kmart, Walmart. Put a tent on the ground. Lay there. When you get up, pick up the tent, put it in your backpack, and get moving. Or if you're like me, go to a beach and lay down. And if it's raining, make sure you have the nearby dry spot, along with the bathroom, the supermarket, and everything else you need, so that you could do everything you need to do in your daily life without being a slave to a job or a slave to rent and utilities or whatever. You know, you're not a slave to the system, because we're going to get to the other slaves, which is regular working class Americans. They don't have the free will that we got. But California, compared to New York City and the absence of free will, is full free will. Full free will. Make a tent wherever, sleep wherever. Cops don't even look at you. If how I look like this, I'll fly under the radar. I suit every day. I'll fly under the radar. I'm not one of these people. These people are going to know that I'm just taking a nap. They're not going to care. Police, there's no program. There's no people so programmed to tell you there's a program for that. They're not going to do that in California. So California is free will. In California, they can make fires. So they have better nutrition. In those shanty towns, you can make a fire anywhere in LA, as long as it is not a red flag day. You know, a red day. You know, a red day like a fire, real dehydrated, dry land, hasn't rained in a while. As long as it's not a red flag day, you could sit in a park, take a can of beans, bush baked beans this big, get some Japanese, a Korean barbecue charcoal, light 3 of them in there, and just cook your meat. Take a couple of shish kebab sticks and cook a burger, a hamburger. That's free will. That's free will. You do that in New York, the fire department gonna end up for a tiny can full of charcoal like this within the next 15 minutes. Why? Because there's people, no fire. Police will arrest you over propane here. Propane. They'll arrest you over propane. And neighbors and everyone else around them is going to complain. So New York City is the absence of free will. In California, you can have a barbecue the size of a 22-inch rim full of burgers and hamburgers. Oh.
You're right.
Yeah.
You gotta keep it down.
I know, sorry, I'm talking a little bit too loud.
No cursing.
It's kind of loud in here.
Keep it down.
Okay, no problem.
Okay?
No problem. I'm a little bit too loud because it's kind of louder out here.
No cursing. Okay?
No problem.
Thank you.
Okay. So in California, you can have a 20-inch rim, right? a barbecue, charcoal, burgers. But here, you're in New York. You can't do that. They'll arrest you for that. Like that. No fire, no nothing. So New York City is the absence of free will, right? And then what's left? What's left between New York and California? That that's the absence of free will. Well, I already explained enough variables. It's these programs have programmed people to stick them into modern slavery, right? And we're not going to get it. We're never going to get to that level of free will. We should, though. We should. It could be real easy. A mayor that understands that we need at least open fire, right? We need a little charcoal. We need a little burger in our life. Or continue disruptions to real free will, you know? Because they're sacrificing free will out there to zero. They don't want nobody sleeping on the train. They don't want no one taking a nap in the afternoon in the park. And these people is programmed up here in the Skull program. There's a program for that. That's modern slavery. It's communist. You know, in the end, we're going to go to the sickle and hammer. It's communist to have so many people targeting a random nap in the park at 3 p.m. That's the absence of free will. Compared to California, people in California got it way better. People like myself that could sleep anywhere, at any time, we would have infinite fun. I would cook a burger immediately. I would find the Japanese charcoal, the sticks, the Korean barbecue ones, right? A box of like 10 of them. They're like charcoal, like long cylindrical or shaped charcoals. Put 3 of them in a can and get some meat. Quick meat immediately. Seasoning on the fire. Because nobody's going to say nothing about fire. Because there's fires everywhere. There's people cooking up in public everywhere. All of South Central in the summers making barbecues left and right. In a sidewalk anywhere. And nobody's paying attention that New York City is behind on civil liberties. New York City is real behind on civil liberties. Way back. I don't know. Maybe 9/11 was the precursor to that. Maybe. But real free will in New York City is becoming so constrained and so toxic that at any moment you could take a nap during the day and they'll try to stop you. At any moment, they'll gang you, gang up on you. If you're sleeping, sitting down, they're fine with that. But if you dare lay down when you're not seen, including NYPD, because NYPD is fine with me. NYPD knows that I'm at work every day. I got a suit on, that I work. But if I lay down, the people on the program will try to make a scene for it because they're the absence of real free will. They are the absence of free will. They don't care if you're sitting down. If you're sitting down and you're resting on your head in the middle of the night, they're not going to bother you. But the second you lay down, they'll go over hoops to tell you about a program. And that's not human. It's a civil rights case. And it's all stemming from these programs that they started into, that they got their jobs from, that they, it started from the place that they got those food stamps and that job from. That mentality, that brainwashing comes from the programs that you got to snip out. You got to force them to find a job. Force them. Not give it to them. Not make the illusion that they're successful. Because they think they're successful. Oh, a government program that finds them a job, that's crazy success. And that's not real success. That's not successful. In my opinion, just a resume should do. Just go to our career center, send resumes, and do that. But getting a job like that, no vetting process, no interview, That's why there's problems everywhere because they're hiring the wrong people. More than likely, they're hiring the wrong people for many of these jobs. And they're under this, it's millions of people in those programs. And all of them are anti free will, against civil liberty. Pure free will is the ability to sleep in a park and nobody would care. Compared to California, California is way better nutrition, way better sleep schedule, way better less harassment, way less harassment, less aggression, less activity. Because they're not going to bother me in Malibu. They're not. And that's exactly where I would end up. I would end up North Malibu, all the way up there, the health supermarket, waiting to see Lady Gaga with a shopping cart and say, "Hi, lady, you're here." Yeah, that's exactly where I would go to California. Malibu, little Malibu, right there. Take a bus, and I'm gonna stay in this area. I'm gonna sleep at the beach, right? All right, this is sheltered. If it rains, I'm gonna stand here, right? And this is gonna be my area. But New York has to do a lot better. It has to cut it has to cut the problem at the shelter. That's when you get rid of all these people in the program. You cut the shelter system, right? You destroy the three-pronged system, right? The mental health, the Department of Human Services, and the judicial system, that they're all working together to stick people in boxes, right? You take care of those three, privatize them, make them private, make them private. One, two, address informed consent before you go in there. A huge list and make it bold and type letter 14. These shelters are full of people that might have been convicted of rapes, of murders, of aggravated assault, of real dangerous crimes. That's number one. Number two, there is drug consumption in the shelter. Number three, they will steal your property. Bring no valuables into the shelter. Number four, they could admit you into the shelter mental health system, into a hospital involuntarily. So if you don't want to risk being put in a hospital for no reason, right? Your shoelace is taken and stuck in a room you can't escape. Don't go in the shelter because they will take you there. Because they assume when you come in the door that you have some form of problem. It's either psychological, it's either drug related. They already assume you're crazy. Don't go in the shelter. Those are not your programs. Number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9. List the risk associated with going into a New York City shelter and ensure that, tell them, if you're white and you're young, don't go in a shelter, B. Just don't. It's not for you. It's not for you. And shut them down. Shut them down. That's it. And from there, you shut down the free job. From there, you shut down the food stamps can stay. The food stamps and cash assistance can stay. But forcing you onto a job, forcing you onto a shelter, not having a jail, right? A junior jail to stick people pre-trial, that's a big mistake. And they're building one in Manhattan. I know they're building a new jail in Manhattan. New York City needs a junior jail, a minor's jail, just like in Miami, Florida. And that's instead of putting him in a shelter before trial, right, before court, you stick him in the IFC, whatever, the organization of a prison system for people pre-trial, the juveniles or whatever. Before they go to jail, you stick them in that box and you start scooping up the dangerous people from the shelters and try to privatize it, try to vet these people to actually get some help. Because if not, it's going to be extremely dangerous to be in. It's not funny, it's after you learn what the shelter is, you don't want to go back there because you start losing money. Material wealth disappears. You'll start losing everything you own like that, including your sanity. It's not right. It's not good. So in turn, these programs have undeniably reduced public civil liberty because they're pre-programmed to mention the programs the second you take a nap, the second you close your eyes. And this is in addition to the absence of other free wills, just like an open fire. Regular people like myself, or regular New Yorkers, could open a barbecue. I want to have a barbecue in a park, but now we got to go deep in the Bronx, right? Deep in the Queens, deep in the Brooklyn to find a park that has barbecued area to then have a burger. It's not right. California, you can do it on the sidewalk. Nobody's gonna bother you. A bush, a can of baked beans cleansed, couple holes in it with the same can opener, charcoal, a lighter, and that's it. That's all I need. I'll cook a steak with this amount of charcoal. But open fire is New York City. Open fire is obviously anti-New York. And you can tell that California, no matter how negative it is right now, shanty towns everywhere, those people live way better than people in New York. Those people are exposed on the street to less risks than a New Yorker that doesn't have a home. They have better nutrition over there. They got more free will, and they got less constraints. They're not being forced into a program. They're not when they're at their most needy, right? When they're their most needy psychologically. Oh, I got a bed. Oh, I'm hurting. Oh, this and that. I got an addiction. I need someone to help me. They make it by themselves. They're not being pressured into a program that they do not want to be in. And that was the topic of today's stream this morning is California and New York. Civil liberties are under attack based on these programs. Modern slavery in California is looking like the rainbow. Make a tent and sleep in it, wake up, pack your tent and move, pack your tent and go, or just lay on the ground where nobody sees you, get up and go, open fire. It's looking like the rainbow. It's looking perfect. No harsh winters, no snow, beaches all over that you could crash, good food. It's looking, and we forgot about another real famous thing about California. You could drink in public. They don't have a problem with drinking in public like they do here. You go to the beer shop, you could crack open a 40 right there in front of the beer spot, and nobody gonna say nothing. Nobody gonna say nothing about that. Just get out, buy 40, and crack it right there in public. Nobody's gonna care. You're not gonna get arrested for open consumption. Why? Because police have better things to do in their day than looking to arrest someone drinking in a public establishment or outside. So you see, modern slavery, New York City, the rainbow, all these freedoms is looking like a Chicago midnight train that way. I got to make it to Chicago. When I do exit the city, if this area becomes unlivable, I'll go to Chicago and take that train from Chicago all the way down. And it's going to be, it's going to be fantastic. Take a train. I'm going to be looking for the charcoal. All right, the Asian store. You guys have Korean charcoal, the tiny. Yeah, you're talking the little one for Korean barbecue. Yeah. All right, here. How much is it? $10. Thank you. To the bag. Charcoal to the bag. Why? Because get a can and cook. Fire. Woo! Too easy. Mange. Delicious stuff. Here, they're full. We are full of processed and refrigerated items with no kitchen. Over there, they've taken care of you. They know what they need to do to keep people happy. And fire is that one thing. Unless it's dry, is that one thing that keeps people happy. A barbecue. They're fine with that. They're not going to stop barbecues. Imagine if they made with all those gang members in South Central barbecuing illegal. They'll riot. They'll riot, you know? But you can tell that civil liberties in New York City are under attack. Real liberty, you know, free will is under attack. And California is the complete absence of those programs and that tight hold grip on people so that they don't take a nap in the middle of the day. That's basically how it sums up. Hope you guys have a good day. I got to work. I got to finish my coffee. It was a pretty decent stream, 35 minutes of civil liberty, baby. Programs that they need to get rid of out here, they got to be. It'd be dream on earth for them to remove those things from New York City. Once those things are out, those people are out, and then it becomes amazing. It's gonna take a little bit to clean up those people from the program, from the system, because it will force them to get a real job. It will force them to send resumes. It will force them to go to Sally Mae, you know, to the job application software, so whatever. They will force them to do lines in private establishments, and real success could come from that, but not just free jobs, free food, free everything, and no free will, because I'm tired of not sleeping thanks to these people. It's been 3-4 days already that they're trying to stop you from having free will out here, and that the second they try to, you know, get with themselves, trying to continue bothering me, I'm gonna go like boop and disappear off the radar. I'm gonna be gone. Bye-bye, New York. It was nice seeing you, New York. And I'm never coming back because I know what's good for me. I know what's healthy for me. And I'll have a fried fish taco the second I get there from the coastline. And there's buses, public buses that you could take from Los Angeles to San Diego. Public. You take LA, I'll end up in El Laguna. I'll go to Laguna and I'll be a bum in Laguna. And it's going to be Taco Bell right there. It's going to be amazing. Amazing. It's going to be perfect out there. I'll drop all of this. It's going to be great. No more winter clothes. Just a backpack and enjoy my life, because they're a little bit too pushy with the program. And fortunately, it's modern slavery. They don't see themselves as slaves. They see themselves as real successful, but it's all given. It's all government, you know, like, nah, that's not right. That's not right. I'll see you guys later. I got to work now in the afternoon. It's been a while. I've been here for 38 minutes already. See you guys tomorrow morning for the American Open.